weeks, we looked at some interesting topics like how to cope on the lockdown. And just last week, we looked at the topic on the front lines through the eyes of a first responder. And person said to me, these shows should be aired all throughout Barbados. But I had to tell them that these shows are aired all across the world. So persons are locked on in Bahamas, persons are locked on in Massachusetts, persons are locked on all across the world. And tonight we have a very special program for you. So before we get anywhere with the program, we're going to just bow our heads for a word of prayer. And let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for what a wonderful day you have given us, sunshine and rain. You've blessed us. And even though we have challenges in our world today, we know that you are still in control. So we ask your blessing and guidance with this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen. Before we do anything, I just like to also mention our sponsors, the St. Thomas District of Seventh-day Adventist churches. They are comprised of Welchman Hall in St. Thomas, close to our minister for tonight. And also we have Jackmans in Skeets Road and Belair in Market Hill, St. George. And the pastor for the St. Thomas District, we thank him for allowing us to use his Zoom platform. And he is Bernard Prescott, our pastor for the St. Thomas District. We are also sponsored by Clayton's Fresh Produce and Patrick's Variety. I understand that Patrick is a maker of good Edo Punch and also banana bread. So tonight we have two very special and hardworking young men in the virtual studio. We know be practicing physical distancing, so they're in the virtual world with us tonight. And there are Pastor Dayle Haynes and Kevyn Henry. And I will ask them in that order to introduce themselves and what do they do. Pastor Haynes, you go first. Welcome to the St. Thomas District.
It's such a privilege to be, in this wonderful district. Can I get a sponsored beverage?
Sure,
can I get that back? Can I get a sponsored beverage? And I live close to the sponsor, one of them. So can I get some sponsors fruits?
Sure, certainly.
Pastor Haynes, I am the Prescott Ministries Director for East Caribbean Conference. And what I do is I'm in charge of Sabbath School, community services, special needs. And, so basically what I do as it relates to COVID-19 would be in terms of gathering the support and the help through the community services departments, so we can rally and so we can be effective in this. I also have two churches, believe it or not. I have two significant churches in St. John, Gore Hill, and Glen. So I'm kept busy, but again, it's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Pastor Prescott for allowing me to be on this platform and to be, in this space. And I want to commend, the whole team and the whole district continue to do amazing and wonderful job.
Thank you, Pastor. And Kevyn, Mr. Kevyn Henry, introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, good night, everyone. You can hear me well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes. As mentioned before, my name is Kevyn Henry. I'm the personal assistant to Minister Cynthia Ford here at the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs. It has been a very difficult time for all involved with this COVID-19, but our jobs here at the ministry basically is to make sure we provide the social safety nets to help protect the wider society, especially those at risk from falling through the cracks in this tumultuous moment. But of what we do here, the Ministry of People Empowerment is responsible for the welfare department. Is also responsible for the Child Care Board, the National Assistance Board. And I mention those three in particular because those are the main bodies that have been trusted into the front lines during this COVID-19 period. We also deal with the Bureau of Gender Affairs, which obviously takes care of the aspects in terms of the rights of each gender, particularly women's rights. And we do know that this is a time as well that challenges can arise within households, and women are usually ones who are in our society leading those households. So this ministry, even though some will not say it's not the Ministry of Health, our staff the staff here is pretty much on the front lines trying to protect the society from falling apart and keeping everything together for as long as possible.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for that introduction. Thank you, Pastor Haynes, as well. At this time, I just want to let you know that we are going for 1 hour, and this is the way how we do our Thursday night show. I will ask a few questions, and then we'll have a segment, a part in the segment where all of our listeners, all of our viewers, really, they can send in our questions via also YouTube and also via the chat here on Zoom. So you can send in your questions, and the producers will send them to me, and then we will get our co-hosts to ask the questions as well. So we're just letting you know that a part of the segment, we will open up for our viewers and our listeners to send in their questions, and they will get them asked. So let's get straight to it. Now, Pastor Haynes, I will start with you. So given the current situation that we find ourselves in, what is the church's response to aid the most vulnerable? What is the church's response to aid the most vulnerable in society?
Thank you so much, Justin. From 2 levels. Number 1, the macro level, which will be my department. What we are doing is we have launched a food bank, and that food bank is, as I said, the macro level, where we assisting organizations. Like, for example, we were able to help the Barbados Council for the Disabled, the mitigation unit, and the workers, the nurses on the front line, and but also that's the macro level. So what we are also done to would also be to help, like, some pastors. This week we are giving pastors hampers, and then the pastors then will go, and their community services person, and go and help in the respective areas. That is from a food hamper standpoint. We also want to do is we want to make each church a unit where that unit will be, where they will have a food bank. So I have one at the conference level, and then there'll be other 61 at the church level, where they will help directly. We at the conference, we are planning to, with the in-gathering funds as well, to speedily get these things in place, so the in-gathering come back, instead of coming back next year, we come back next month. So the churches at that, that local level can also work. We have done our hand sanitizer project. So what we do, we produce these hand sanitizers knowing that there's a scarcity, and along with the hampers, we give these care packages of soaps and hand sanitizers and these things. We also have a unit, part of our unit, where we assist in psychological first aid. With the Ministry of Health, they've asked us to identify persons that will help, in terms of counseling and assisting persons, which can be traumatic. And we also help with the homeless as well, provide food 2 days a week for them. So the church is mindful, and we are in the vanguard of helping, at macro level and at the micro level.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor Haynes. Also, equally, Kevin, what is the government's response so far?
Well, the government's response has been multi-dimensional, I would say multi-sectoral. But considering that we're speaking directly to the Ministry of People Empowerment, I'd like to focus more on what the work the ministry has been. So the Ministry of People Empowerment has basically led from the forefront in taking care of the vulnerable groups in society. One of the first things we've done is to put together over 4,000 care packages. The initial target was 3,000, but thanks to contributions from civil society, including religious groups, and that's both Christian and also non-Christian groups such as the Muslim community. We've been able to up the numbers of how many people we were able to reach up to, I believe it's just over 4,000 care packages across the community. The ministry then also is responsible for getting and issuing the household survival grant. That has started this week, and we've been through the community distributing the first wave of those grants, the $600 a month, targeted mainly at persons who would not have any other social supports, lack of income coming into the households, vulnerability in terms of no welfare, no NIS pensions or NIS support for disability, trying to ensure that those households who also works in the informal sector and necessarily won't qualify for those previously mentioned grants, that they have some level of income coming into the household to ensure that there's feeding going on. We've also been working with other civil society groups and trying to facilitate and direct their contributions. So for example, we've been working with some, well, I won't call names tonight just in case I forget any and everybody don't feel appreciated, but there've been a number of charitable groups who have come on board, and sometimes rather than bring them directly into the ministry, we just allow them to, they've informed us as to what they're doing, and the ministry has allowed or created a platform for them to reach people. So we have in this ministry on that front, that's what we call the first wave, to hold the fort. And then on top of that, we've been able during the last estimates to be able to increase the welfare grants to those on welfare by about 40%. So from this month, which is the new financial year of government, they should have noticed an increase in their welfare grants. There has been a hotline set up here, especially so that the elderly or those vulnerable could be able to contact the ministry. So if they're in any help, whether it's in terms of getting food assistance or other assistance, maybe home care because of help from not being able to get around to people, that those people can call in and let somebody know so that the social workers here can get on the case and be able to deal with different circumstances. So
Great.
it has been a number of different pillars that we've put in place over the past month and a half. I can say that the team here, led by Minister Ford and Permanent Secretary Gabrielle Springer, from the time COVID became a thing, it was constantly being tracked to see if it was going to reach our shores. We've had an emergency standing committee within the ministry looking at how we're going to manage and deliver these services towards the community. And everything we do is not an exact science. There's always still room to keep building and improving, but we feel comfortable that we've been able to at least reach a vast majority of those persons who we consider vulnerable and those that we were not in contact with. What this process and this unfortunate circumstance has allowed us to do is for those people to also reach out so that we have a better understanding of those people who we need to be taking care of and looking after. But I think that I also
Great.
take this opportunity to thank especially members of civil society, the church groups, the charity groups out there for stepping up and helping and assisting in ministry, and then also doing a lot of this work on their own as well. It's a lot of heavy lifting, and without that aspect of contribution from society, the government alone could not take this on. And I commend everybody else who stepped up to the plate to help and assist.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you guys are doing. Thank you, Pastor Haynes, for the work that you guys are doing as well. So tell me, in this order, we will go back to Pastor Haynes. What are the challenges you are currently facing with the demand that you see on a daily basis? There's a great demand. Tell our listeners and our viewers, what are the challenges that you guys are facing on a daily basis?
My big challenge is not know, right, Justin? We are able to help, and we go in there, we help, we assist. But my challenge is how will we be able to do it? How long can we sustain this? We don't know like the end in mind. We don't know how many more months. And so that to me is just a challenge. Where we have a challenge, we also have a nice flip side where people are coming on board, they're rallying, they're excited to help and participate and even to contribute. We're not out there, begging for money, or people are just hearing word for word and they're just bringing things and donating things. But my challenge is how long? How long can we sustain a program? When I was watching in another area, it said like 17,000 people would be from the government sector would be unemployed. There's 17,000. I don't know how many persons from the private sector, but we have a number. It's just a ballooning of effect. People coming on the breadline. But how long would it be? But we're in it, and I want to tell Kevin and the others, we're in it for the long haul. And as a matter of fact, that's what the church is here for. We're not here just to come and to pacify. We're here to satisfy. So that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Great. All right, Kevin, the same question to you. What are the challenges that you guys are facing at the Ministry of Elder Affairs and People Empowerment? What are the challenges that you guys face and given this COVID-19 challenge?
The challenges, let's start with the big one. Obviously, we would do a lot more with more resources, and it is still a game, as Pastor Dayle said, you don't know how long this is going on. So I guess it has to be a measured approach by government. You can't go and throw all your resources in at the beginning, and then you don't know if it's going to be a 6-month process, a 12-month process, or an 18-month process. So trying to be measured and understanding how to reach out to persons. If we had more resources, there's a whole lot more that you can do. But the challenge, I think, and I will speak on behalf of the ministry staff here, is generally, it is exhausting work, but we're under curfew. So we're working on skeleton staff here, just trying to make sure that we get out to those persons who really truly need it. It has been emotionally draining because you find every day a different story, a different heartache, which is, and I don't mean heartache within the traditional sense of the Beijing using that term, but I mean legitimate heartaches. You see tears from people who are just so helpful that the little that they can get from the care packages that people have been handing out, and it literally moves you. That for me, if I say for our staff here, the staff has been putting in long hours, and it is the work that you won't see. They're not doctors, so it's not automatic that people will think that the social workers are on the front lines, but every day they're either at the office or they're on the phones working from home, or even now, just before I got here, the social workers were messaging, trying to follow up on a couple of the cases. It has been a lot of work, and I think that would be the hardest challenge: finances, and then also the personal effort in trying to maintain the effort. We can't flag, because if we flag, people will fall through the cracks. We have to wake up every day and push it on and keep pushing and keep going, because we understand that in this ministry we carry on our backs the not just the hopes and the futures of people in this in that are vulnerable, but basically reflect the moral ethos of our country by how we deliver this. If we cannot step up in a time of a crisis where people are needing, then the purpose of our work, going out there trying to say we're trying to improve people's lives, it has no benefits. So
Okay.
we have to keep going, and we just hope to, we just will do it day after day after day as it comes along, because we don't know how long this is going to last, and we can't afford for people to fall through the cracks.
Okay, thank you very much. For those who just joined us, we are here live on TNT, Thursday Night Talk. So we just want to take the time to welcome all of our viewers, all of our listeners. We are here live on Zoom. We are also live on YouTube. So we just want to say hi to all of our YouTubers. We are here live with you. And we just want to know, we appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to join us tonight on Thursday Night Live. So we just welcome all of you, for persons across the shores, over the shores, as persons like to say sometimes. We just want to take this time to welcome you to our Thursday Night Talk. We have in studio, in our virtual studio with us, Pastor Dayle Haynes, he is the pastor of 2 churches in St. John. He also is the Personal Ministries Director, and he does a lot of things. We also have Kevyn Henry here. He's the personal assistant to Minister Cynthia Ford. And for those of you in the St.Thomas district, especially those of you who go to church at the Welchman Hall, Seventh-day Adventist Church, you are very familiar with Cynthia Ford, Minister Cynthia Ford. She lives very, very close to the church. She has visited the church on numerous occasions, and she has consented to send her personal assistant here, Kevyn Henry, with us. So I just want to know that those of you who came late, we have in studio Pastor Dayle Haynes and Kevyn Henry, and we are looking at the topic, don't suffer in silence, how to access help. Don't suffer in silence, how to access help. Now, I facilitate at the open campus at the University of the West Indies, and I often tell my students, don't suffer in silence. Now, that is something, when you live in a virtual world, persons, they can't connect as they would like. And persons suffer in silence. So I'm asking this question to you guys. Given the work that you are doing, do you think, or I explain to all those listeners and viewers, do you think persons are out there suffering in silence and are not saying anything? So we're going to start with Kevyn this time. Do you think persons out there suffering in silence and not saying anything?
Well, the short answer to that is yes. This is Barbados, and we're 166 square miles, but we have like 4 or 5 distinct cultures across this island. So you would find in one part of the country, people will be suffering, but they will not necessarily say anything. The community binds together and try to help them out. So you would then have to go to find these people, and the social workers do an excellent job. And I must say, I forgot another group of persons who, if they they found out that I forgot about them. They would chide me, and that's the other personal assistants to the ministers and the MPs, the constituency assistants, because we've been pushing hard to get the list to find out from them who are the vulnerable people within their communities. But as you would find, especially in rural Barbados, people are very, very shy on about coming forward about their struggles and their suffering. You literally have to go to them, and even how we handle people in rural Barbados in terms of giving out assistance, we're very, very private. We're very, very, very select in terms of how we approach it, because we know that it can be offensive if you try to offer that. And that's something that you see here. I must say, however, that within COVID, for example, we found that across wider Barbados, that a lot of people were, I don't want to say suffering, but they were making it through, and that the community spirit that a lot of us chided that wasn't there still existed, because you had families who were being how do I say this, who were supporting other weaker members in the family group. And what has happened now is that as people lost employment for whatever reason, that bottom, that support has almost fallen out. And then these people who were just getting by before are now within the vulnerable group. So it's a mixed answer. It depends on the cultural point of the area in Barbados that you're in. Some people are more shy than others to ask for help. And then it also, there are people now who are newly vulnerable because of this circumstance. And because I guess it is a global issue, they've been less shy to ask for the assistance because it's now something that everybody's in this boat together. So it just depends on where and the culture the subculture that exists within those different communities to determine if people want to ask about it. But you do know that it's not really the Bajan way has the steely, stubborn resistance towards it, which we also still see coming out. But we know that there will be a breaking point for most people. And that is what we're also trying to prepare in the Ministry of People and Empowerment for, to understand when that breaking point will come, to make sure that we have all the structures and at least try to avoid that breaking point from happening in the first place.
Great. Pastor Haynes, same question
Sure,
to you.
and Justin, we encouraging even our churches and all rank and file members to look out for each other, because we know as Barbadians, we have that sort of shield, that kind of, we don't want others to know well that we get a little handout or whatever. But so we have to ramp up the fact too that we have to be caring for each other. And we get a lot of people coming to the food bank of referrals. Not that we would know exactly the persons, but people will say, well, I have people in my district, or the pastor will say, well, pastor, I have persons in my district, in my area, who even know hands-on, and we can work through that. But what we're saying is that we are all in this thing together, and we have to, be caring, look out for one another. Like, for example, in my village, here in Barnes Village, persons would look out for one another, and this COVID-19, to me, that's my opinion, would have brought a closer thing for me. I don't know about Clayton, who's one of the sponsors, but we come here, we share with everybody, and we go outside and we help the neighbors' children, and we give, we give around. But we have to, yes, Justin, people can suffer, and they do suffer in silence because of, we grew up, Justin, I don't know if you will know, but I mean, you're a young pup, but don't be poor and show
community. I grew up
yeah,
in
don't be poor, don't be poor and show poor, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But this is calling us to look out for one another, and so we can help, and we can guide one another.
Okay, great. I just want to, we have commercial breaks into because we also want to remind folks that we have sponsors. We want to thank the St. Thomas district. We're using their platform, the Zoom platform. The St. Thomas district comprises of church in Welchman House, St. Thomas, Jackmans Church in Skeets Road, St. Michael, and the Belair Church in Market Hill, St. George. And we want to thank our sponsors very, very much. Also, we want to let you know that Clayton's Fresh Fruits and Vegetables, he is available to do distribution of those fruits and vegetables. He will come to you. And also we have Patrick's Variety. I understand he makes the best Edo Punch and banana bread in Barbados. So we just want to thank our sponsors. We really can't do that for our sponsors. Now, I just want to let the folks know they can send in their questions on YouTube. You can send in your questions on the chat, and we have a person to collect the questions and ask the questions here to our guests. For those of you who are now joining us, again, you can post your questions on Thursday Night Live, TNT we call it here in Barbados, TNT, Thursday Night Live. And you can send your questions in, and we have in a panel with us, and there's a virtual group we have here, and we have Pastor Dayle Haynes and also Kevyn Henry. I just want to let you know that I have spoken to Minister Ford, and she said to me, if by chance if by chance the cabinet finished early, she will pop in. So I just want to let you know that just in time. We have about 30 minutes. My producers letting me know we have about 30 minutes. So you have to get your questions in very quickly. Now, Kevyn, you spoke about a lot about like, social workers and those other things. Now, if I'm a person who needs help, how can I access help? Like clearly articulate for our viewers the numbers, if there's a website, any contact information. How can we access this help? Now, I'm a person, I am suffering in silence, but I heard this program tonight. And I said to myself, I don't want to suffer in silence. And I fall into the category. Also, tell us how you can get into how you are in this category. Explain the category, one, and two, tell us about how to access this help.
Hi. All right. So the first thing you can do to access this help, and here looking for the actual numbers of the actual hotline, because I know it's 535 HOPE. But these days we don't have the telephone pads at the same thing with the dots. I will give it to you before we leave in the actual numbers in case you don't know the HOPE spelling. But you can call that hotline. It's confidential. We have about 11 or 12 lines to the hotline, so you shouldn't have too much bunching. I mean, if everybody calls right after the show, obviously, there may be some waiting you have to do. And what happens is that the trained social workers who receive your call, they would take your information immediately and then process it through the chains of the social services to see where the assistance can be offered. Whether to say you need assistance with food, whether you need assistance with in terms of long-term financial support, income support or income subsidization. They are the ones who will be able to make that determination right there and right then, and just pass the information into the system. That is your most efficient way to getting support during this COVID-19 period. The people have been calling welfare, but on a normal day, welfare is already under a lot of pressure and under a lot of strain. And now they're working with their scouts and staff, obviously for social distancing and also trying to maintain the benefits of the curfew. So I advise everybody to come down the hotline 535 HOPE, and you will definitely get somebody answering you there. And once it gets the put into the system, you will get a result based on what you want. Right? That is also for people who need psychological help as well. The social workers will be able to help. We're trying to widen the scope of it, but they'll be able to get some level of support there as well moving forward. Right? That is the best way to get help at this point. Those persons now who would have been employed but would have lost their jobs, particularly COVID circumstance, or been laid off, you've been advised to attend to seek assistance directly at the NIS in terms of your unemployment and the income support scheme that they're supposed to have in there that was announced by Prime Minister, the Honorable Mia Amar Motley. Right, once you go to the NIS, their procedures and processes will then take over, and they will also lend support. And then there's also those persons who might have been part of the retrenchment, but still have not necessarily gotten back up on their feet in full, but have been hit with a difficulty. You can reach out to the household mitigation unit. I'm going to send for the number for that before we sign off here. But that is headed by Corey Lane, and they will also take your information. They also have volunteer social workers working with them as well to try to assist you best way possible. But those are the three key areas that if you are having troubles, that you can call. But the 535 HOPE, that will encompass the household survival, welfare. If you are a child and you having difficulties at home and you want to get not, I don't want to say, if you facing an abusive environment and you just needed to get the report into somebody so somebody can reach out and facilitate it, you can even call that hotline as well. But 535 HOPE would definitely be the best one stop to get better advice or direction for most of your needs.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. Pastor, I'm going to come to you now shortly, but we have some
Sure.
questions here. I just want to facilitate the questions. All right,
Sure.
we have one here. I guess it's directed to both of you, right? It says, how do people access the care packages from either organization? How do people access the care packages from either organization?
From my one, referrals, in your St. Thomas district, you can contact any of the community services members, the pastor, and it will be, they can refer to me. Also, too, we will I'm giving the pastors. So, so you can look up St. Thomas district. I'll give a set of care packages, and your pastor and yourself and your community services people would, would see who can, donate it to whoever. But we deal mainly with referrals.
Okay, noted. Kevin, how do people access the care packages? And what's the process and procedures?
Well, let me start with how the first set of care packages went out first, so that there's clarity as to the process of what took place. The first set of care packages, which were identified to be 3,000, what has happened is that they were distributed directly based on the list and information I've been collecting over the past year. Since last year, in preparation for the hurricane season, we've been collecting data on vulnerable families because the Prime Minister made it clear that we need to know where all these persons are. So following that data and the work through the different social programs that we've had within the ministry, we were able to identify those persons that would have been in need. We identified elderly persons who live alone or had limited social supports to ensure that they had some level of support to what they food support. And then also through our organizations such as the National Disabilities Unit, the National Assistance Board in particular, they also were the ones that went out and made deliveries to their people. And then also the MPs were furnished with each MP across the political scene, because we also made sure that Jamaica West, which is Bishop Joe, that they were taken care of as well. We ensure that they had, so that the persons that they can identify will have access. We've been tracking this with ID numbers to ensure that we try not to give one person 2 or 3 packages as opposed to somebody else who was in need. And that is how the first set of packages went out. After that, the hotline was generally launched around the same time that we were distributing those first set of packages. And as people called and made requests, the social workers have been quite responsive in trying to get out to them. As more food is donated and more stuff is purchased and stored here at the ministry, we will continue doing those same care packages. But even in the event, there have been some organizations that have donated 50 or 40, or we've been able to give them names of persons who have called asking for care packages so that they can make the donations themselves. So it has been a more than one avenue to how we've been able to distribute these care packages. But if you're in need of a care package and you do not have a direct access to someone to be able to do it, just like how you can reach out to Pastor Dayle, you can also reach out through to the hotline, which is 535-HOPE. And once you give the information there, the social workers will get on the job and get out to you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. There's another question here from the chat. It says, good night, Elder Arlene, how are you? It says, question to ask. Has there been any reported cases of elder abuse? It says it's normal during this period to face the dilemma of having those kind of issues. Can the panel enlighten us how to help these kind of persons who are facing abuse? They're elderly persons and they're facing abuse. You spoke to that. Those persons can also call the hotline. So has there been any reported cases, and how those persons can get any help?
Well, I will take this one first. Elder abuse is a very unfortunate circumstance, which we see too many cases of being reported. And I don't want to make it sound like a million cases, but 1 case, 2 cases, 3 cases of elder abuse, that's too many. All right. The majority of the concerns that we've gotten at the ministry over the past 2 to 3 months is consistent with the rest of the normal periods, and it's really with financial abuse at this point that maybe it has biggest risk. By financial abuse, what we mean, people holding on to people's pension checks and kind of almost ransoming them to have them signed, not providing the food that they say they're going to go and get for the households after the money is passed on to others. That is what the main sources of elder abuse consistently has been. And at the ministry, what we tend to do, and Minister Ford is one of the biggest defenders of this situation. She will take the information. And I remember on one of the very first mornings of the curfew, we had a situation where we had to get the police involved with the case because the old lady just couldn't take it anymore. But we tried to get to those persons as soon as possible and try to use the Royal Barbados Police Force and their tools to try to have these things resolved. But I think it's more important for us to ask and speak to people to have a conscience. The elderly may seem to you, if you're unscrupulous, to be easy prey, but they're not. And one thing that was definitely on the cards for this ministry for this year before COVID was looking at getting a proper policy in place for dealing with elder abuse. But once you see elder abuse taking place, you need to report it. Please use the hotline to report it. The social workers will report it further up the line, and we will definitely bring all the powers and resources to be in play to try to alleviate that challenge and ensure that persons don't get away with this.
Okay, Pastor Haynes, any to report from your end?
No, not from my end, but I just want to flag the conscientious work done by Minister Ford. I know of her champion in terms of championing this, just the eradication of this elder abuse. She's done a wonderful job. Look, I know of her work. The Bible says, "I know of your works." I think in Revelation, just said, "I know of your work," and she did. And it is, and from our end as a church, we are also saying, look, we have to care for every single person, and we cannot abuse any person or have any abuse being perpetuated in any of the society.
Okay, great. Just want to let you know, folks, the Ministry of People, Empowerment and Elder Affairs, we have it on the screen for you. The hotline for help, 535-HOPE, 535-4673. The number again is 535-4673. You can call the hotline for assistance if you know our persons getting abused or persons being abused, or you need any assistance. You just call 535-4673, the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs. At this time, I want to have my lovely assistant to come and ask some questions, my co-host, Francia Bedford, to come and ask some questions from YouTube and also from the chat here as well. Francia Bedford. And while she comes, I will also want to welcome those persons who just joined us. You're a YouTuber, you are a Zoomer. We just want to welcome you to TNT, Thursday Night Talk. We have with us in studio Pastor Dayle Haynes and Kevyn Henry. Pastor Dayle Haynes and Kevyn Henry. We're going to ask my assistant, Francia, as she gets ready to ask the questions. And we have about 20 minutes. My producers are letting me know we have 20 minutes. So get your questions in very, very quickly. We have these two gentlemen here just for 20 minutes as we talk about the topic, don't suffer in silence, how to access help. Now, as Francia gets ready, we will go on now. Now, there are a lot of persons here in the studio here. There are a lot of persons on YouTube. There are a lot of persons also on Zoom. They want to contribute. Now, both Kevyn and Pastor Haynes, you guys spoke to the fact of persons are contributing. Now, in a tangible way, explain carefully how can persons assist you? How can persons volunteer to assist you in this great work?
Oh, for me, let me go first, so I can see a little thunder on Kevyn. No, I just kidding, Kevyn. You can contact any of the 7 Adventist pastors, any of the community services leaders of any of the churches. Also, you can also contact me as well, 850-4652. And and I want to put a plug here for one of your sponsors. He donated some of his produce. Because in our care packages, we give fruits, we give vegetables, and we also give the other basic essentials like rice and flour and milk and tuna, these other kind of things. and we also give hand sanitizers. So we give a full package. And Clayton, being my neighbor, would have donated donated things, some. So you can donate it in terms of the produce. You can buy your things, and you can any of the community services person, or you can contact me 850-4652, as we seek to help one another in this pandemic.
Yes, for those who are joining us, this is Pastor Dayle Haynes. He is the Personal Ministries leader, community services, and also Sabbath School of the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventist, that comprises of churches in Barbados and also Dominica. So he has a lot of work on his hands, and he's also pastoring 2 churches as well. We have with us Kevyn Henry. He's the personal assistant to Minister Cynthia Ford of the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, for those of you who are just joining us. So Kevyn, the same question to you.
All right. There are a number of ways in which you can assist. And I'll follow on from Pastor Dayle directly. If you know your church is doing work in this area, or even if your church is not doing it as yet, but want to do it, that is one way you can contribute, because you do know, for us in St. Thomas, when we're doing our Christmas hampers and stuff like that, we know who are people that need help are, especially through the churches. We do know of others who are not necessarily within the church, but the church usually has a good handle as to where the need is. And that is something that you can do on your own, or you can join one of the churches that are already doing it, like Pastor Dayle is already doing it. We also like to encourage persons to contribute to other good works projects that are going on out there. I'm also involved in another project, which is the Pantry Project, which if you wanted to make a donation, and it's a smaller scale donation, you can reach out to them at 239, I think when I had it here just now, 239-3675 or 265-0665. And you can make your donations there, whether it's in cash or in products. And they usually, the young ladies there will usually organize and facilitate pick up and the drop off and everything for you. On top of that, they have the Adopt Our Families program, which was really targeted initially to higher earning income, high earners and above average earners within the Barbadian society. So you can give a contribution to help the government in this program that we're doing in terms of adopting a family and trying to take care of their needs and how to bridge them through this difficult time. So even if you want to make a donation to a national program, you can do that. And then there are other persons in society who have literally just brought food and a case of tuna or different things to the ministry to assist with the efforts that we have here. So it is something that you can take multiple approaches to, and it's just your choice basically, how you want to. But there are lots of avenues out there. If you're not certain, you can hit me up on I give my number now, 253, because the whole world has it anyway.
Kevyn, before you do it, we want you to just repeat the numbers that you just mentioned.
No problem.
And just give it a little slower, because we have producers who will put up all the information for you.
Okay, so it's the Pantry Project, and that is 239-3675.
Repeat again, 239.
239-3675.
Great.
Right. And then also 265-0665.
Great.
All right. Yeah, but just if you reach out to any of your constituency representatives, I know many of them are out there doing their own things within their communities outside of what the government is doing. I'm sure that they've been able to take the contribution, and I must say that even amongst us in the personal assistants and the MPs, we've been able to share resources with each other. We received a donation of vegetables from a constituent in St. Peter, which we were able to donate to the wider the National Assistance Boards, because obviously the home health workers right now cannot and by social distancing, we don't want to spend as much time in the homes with the elderly that they serve, especially those who live. You're only going out to those who live alone right now and need close contact care. So instead of cooking in the homes and spending that extra time there, the meals have been prepared off-site and delivered hot. And we've had people donate food and produce and stuff to that project. And I must say that Barbadians have really, I mean, before this process, I know there was a lot of discussions about society and where society was going, but I can say truly that I've been proud generally by the response that we have taken up as brothers and sisters in Barbados to help out each other.
Great. And we have with us Francia Bedford, who's here now to share some questions. So Francia.
Good evening to the panel. I have two questions.
Good to see you.
Nice seeing you too, Pastor Haynes. Nice to see you as well, Mr. Henry. First question, this relates to the needs. Is there any room for the DOs to get involved in uncovering the needs of the people? That's for you, Mr. Henry, and to you, Pastor Haynes. The question for you is there any contact information or contact number whereby if there's a member who wants to get in contact with you or your church members, is there a number that we can call to get in contact to access these services?
Sure, 850-4652. Everybody has Kevyn number. so 850-4652. You can just give me a bell, 850-4652.
All right.
Now to you, Kevyn, yes.
Right. Let me not speak of it in a structural, official way, because obviously, I will not want to speak to create policy, but I do believe that there is space for all persons involved to definitely make a contribution. So the DEO definitely can help in uncovering cases that they know of people in need. And if they do that, they can feel free to just share that information with us here at the ministry. Even if you want to route it through my email, that is fine, and I can give that to you here. Is my name as it appears on the screen, but a dot in between the Kevyn and the Henry at barbados.gov.bb, the normal government handle. And if anybody on the DEO knows of cases or a collection of cases, feel free to send it. Don't assume that we know all. We've been taking every name and submitting it into the database, so then that we do the double checks to ensure that they weren't being dealt with before. And that is the only way we're going to get through this. We can be stronger for it after this, definitely. We can have better systems in place after this COVID-19. And I think that once we all continue to contribute and pitch in, we could definitely make sure that no one falls through the cracks. And we could also ensure that we are stronger for it at the end of the day.
Francia, any more questions?
Yes, I have another question. The question is, this is for Pastor Haynes.
Sure.
What about the members of your congregations, of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, those displaced members? How would you be able to, would they be able to access these packages too?
And our church was set up also with we have a benevolent fund, I guess, in each of the local churches. And sure, the local church can, through its benevolent fund, can help. Sure. Also, too, person who's displaced, and they can, we would also oblige and help such a person as well.
Over to you, Justin.
Okay, thank you very much, my lovely assistant, Francia Bedford, for ably answering or asking all those questions from the YouTubers and also the Zoomers. Now, we are going very, very quickly to our closing time. And I'm going to just ask both Kevyn Henry and Pastor Dayle Haynes to give us, you just give us a wrap up. I have a one or two last questions for you, but tell all of our viewers, if there's something you need, a message that you want to tell them, just give us your closing wrap up right here, right now.
Okay, Justin, I want to, continue with your theme. Don't suffer in silence. There is so many avenues. Kevyn would have listed so many avenues. And I'm saying this: there's no shame in your game. Don't let no shame be in your game. Suffer in silence. So many avenues you can seek help and get help from. And get this help. Also, let's look out for our brothers and sisters, and make sure that everybody's fine. Not just you coping, not you just making it. But let's look around and hold somebody's hand, and so we can figuratively, so we can all get through this thing together.
What I would join on from there to say is, that we have a tendency in Barbados that when we're not sure of something, the first thing we do is to sometimes complain about it. And this is one instance where I'm going to say you do not have to complain. There have been structures set up, there's been a hotline. We do not have the human capacity, especially with social distancing, to be everywhere. So we want you to use these things. Reach out to us. Don't have any shame in your game. There's not a shame issue. Um, a lot of people in this country, a lot of us have been living from paycheck to paycheck, and the paycheck has disappeared overnight. So there's going to be some hardship. Do not feel alone in this process. It is a global situation. The ILO, which is the International Labor Organization, last week was discussing that up to 180 million jobs could be lost due to COVID-19. And what we are seeing is this is a work in progress. It may not be the most perfect way right now, but for what it is that's happening, we want you to use it. Let's try to reach out to each other. Let's try to make sure that we get some sort of assistance out to you, and let's move forward together. Do not suffer in silence. You are not alone. This is not a you circumstance. There is nothing to be ashamed of. We have to fight through this together. We have to be stronger together. If not, we're not going to make it out of this circumstance. Some people tell me a lot heavily optimistic about this circumstance, but I rather see the dawn that can come from this moment in time, because if we keep looking at the terrible tragedies, our mental health has to be part of how we're going to clear this path and this hurdle. And we have to keep holding each other's hands and encouraging each other, and know you're not alone. Don't suffer in silence. Call the hotline, and we'll try to ensure that we get some level of assistance to you once you are truthful and honest and qualified.
Okay, so for those of you who are joining us late, just welcome to TNT Thursday Night Talk, sponsored by the St. Thomas District of Seventh-day Adventist Churches, also Clayton's Fresh Produce and Patrick's Variety. We have with us tonight in our virtual panel here, we have Pastor Dayle Haynes of the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. He is the person ministry Sabbath School Community Services leader of the conference. He also pastors 2 churches in St. John. And we also have the personal assistant to Minister Cynthia Ford of the ministry. She is the Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs. And she's ably lent us her personal assistant, Kevyn Henry. And I know Minister Cynthia Ford very well. She works very, very hard. And I know her for a long time. She knows me from the time I was a little boy growing up in Thomas. So I know the work that Minister Ford is doing, has done, and will continue to do once God give her the breath and strength. So we're really thankful for these gentlemen. Now my question to you guys, now I heard Minister Ford said that a lot of persons who are in the middle class, they are now asking for help. They're now asking for help. Now, there are a lot of persons here who are watching this show who may not say anything to me. They may not say anything to Pastor Haynes. They may not say anything to you, Kevyn Henry. And they are now, because of COVID-19, moving out of one class into this class. Say something to them. Help them. Say something to them. Speak to them.
Well, Pastor Dayle, let me take this first, and I can leave you with the spiritual word for last on this one, because I know that
Go ahead.
It can be very difficult when you see your realities change in front of you. All right. And the theme is the same. You're not alone. You are not alone. It is not some decision. It is not some grand mistake that you've made. We are here to support all. When we say vulnerable, the word vulnerable does not have a definition on class. It does not have a definition on where you live. It does not have a definition on how many children you have. It does not have a definition on what job you had or have. Your vulnerability is based solely on your circumstance and your condition. Speak to our social workers, clearly explain yourself and your circumstances, and they'll take it from there. All right. And before I see the time, and I want to say one last thing. I want each of you to just remember everyone in this ministry here in your prayers, especially. They're literally on the front lines every day, interacting with with people regardless of the circumstances. And Minister Ford, you all know that she is perhaps closer to the vulnerable group, and she has not shied away from this task. Every day she's an example. She's here when she needs to be, and she is always giving a word of encouragement, trying to motivate the staff. And I just want to say that her leadership has been outstanding, and we thank her, and we want her and use her as an example if you are in that circumstance, and see how openly she speaks to a certain situation. That is the culture that she is bringing to this ministry, and that is the sort of response that you can have when you call the hotline here.
Great,
Yeah, just
thank
what I
you.
can add to is, just with this, the being very fluid, knowing the society that we live in Barbados, in terms of moving from one class to the next, but I want to appeal to you: strong minds break strong chains, and it's not just your ability, it's your bounce back ability, how well you can bounce back. And all hands on deck, have a strong spiritual and good walk with God. How we can bounce back. And I want to tell you that we might not be on the cutting edge, but we have to cut the edge. You might not, you might think you're very far from the cutting edge, but I'm saying where you are, just cut that becomes the edge. Cut your edge in terms of discipline, in terms of determination, and a strong mind that will get us through all of this, because it can change very, very, very quickly.
Yes, good. I'm really, really happy. My producers were able to get these two gentlemen in. Pastor Dayle Haynes from the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. He is the Director of Person Ministry, Sabbath School, Community Services, and he also pastors 2 services in St. John. And we have the personal assistant to Minister Cynthia Ford of the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Kevyn Henry, who joined us on TNT, Thursday Night Talk. So I'm really, really happy that you guys came, you shared abundance of information, and we are better. So now no person here who've listened to you on YouTube or Zoom should ever be suffering in silence. No persons can access help. So let us help each other. Let us hold our brother's hand. Let us hold our sister's hand. Let us make it on the other side of COVID-19. Now, at the end of this program, again, we just want to thank our sponsors, the St.Thomas District of Seventh-day Adventists. We also want to thank Clayton's Fresh Produce, Patrick's Variety, for being our sponsors tonight. Pastor Bernard Prescott being the pastor of the St. Thomas District. We want to thank him and the team. We have a lot of workers behind the scene. You don't see them a lot of workers, the producers, the persons who test the mics, everything. I just want to thank all of the team for working very, very hard. My co-host tonight, Francia Bedford, all of the team for working very hard. Again, I am your host, Justin Allen, and this is Thursday Night Talk, TNT. And next week, we will have another interesting topic, so stay tuned to Thursday Night Talk again. Kevyn Henry, we want to send our greetings and our well wishes to Minister Ford, Minister Cynthia Ford, who lent you to us, and you did a wonderful job. So thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Kevyn, for a wonderful job. And we are just closing down now. And we thank everyone. We thank all of our YouTubers. We thank all of our Zoomers for joining us. All of the persons who took the time to join us. You would have been a wonderful guest with us here tonight. You've been from a sister church. You've been a visitor. Nevertheless, we are really, really happy that you've been here with us and taking the time to be with us on Thursday Night Talk. So my name is Justin. I'm signing off, and thank you once again. So let us close with prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity, Lord, to hear and know more about you and where to get help from. Ultimately, our help comes from you, O Lord. So we thank you for the electricity. We thank you for the internet. We thank you for the 2 gentlemen who would have ably shared all of the information that they would have shared with us. We thank you for everything. And as we close this session, we ask that you will guide and prepare us for another time tomorrow morning when we have Friday morning devotions with an international speaker tomorrow. So we just ask, oh God, that you will guide, guard, and direct everything. Thank you again, oh Father, in Jesus' precious name. Amen. We're going to leave the chat open normally for our normal session for those of you who want to say hello, greetings, and so on. So we just leave the chat open for a little bit. Thank you again, and I'm Justin Allen signing off for TNT
Justin.
Thursday Night Talk.
Justin,
Yes, sir.
boy, we will have to send you and Francia to CBC or VOB, boy. I just tell you. You and Francia have done well.
Thank God indeed.
Yes. Thanks to Kevin and Pastor Haynes, man.
No problem.
Keep up the good works.
Have a good night, everyone.
That's
Happy
one of the
birthday,
sponsors
Dad.
there, Kevin.
I know.
Yeah.
See you online.
God bless, God bless, God bless. Have a blessed night.
All right, man.
All right, cool.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, Patrick.
Justin. Chad.
Yeah, partner.
Yeah, boy. Listen, I don't know. I sit down and I listen and I'm so amazed.